In this episode of Pop Culture Weekly, it's all about the new film Juliet and Romeo. I speak to the cast, including Rebel Wilson. Let's go!
Welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon from iHeartRadio. Your pop culture news, views, reviews, and celebrity interviews on all the movies, TV, music, and pop culture you crave weekly. Here's Kyle McMahon.
Hello and welcome to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and I thank you, as always, for hanging out with me for another episode of Pop Culture Weekly. I am really excited because this episode, I am thrilled to dive into the enchanting world of the brand new musical film, Juliet and Romeo. It's like a modern twist on Shakespeare's timeless tale, and I think it'll be captivating audiences. I think it's going to be, one of those ones that kind of like The Greatest Showman, where people like discover it and it grows in like popularity and all. The music is awesome. It's really great. So today it's all about Juliet and Romeo. I have the talented actors, Jamie Ward and Clara Rugaard, who bring the iconic characters of Romeo and Juliet to life with their amazing chemistry and their emotional depth as well. So we'll be exploring their experiences and challenges and that magic that they created on screen. And I talk with Timothy Scott Bogart, who is the writer, director, creator of Juliet and Romeo. He's got a lot of cool insight on, this bold reinterpretation of Shakespeare's classic story. And, of course, I'm very excited to welcome the hilarious Rebel Wilson, who takes on the role of Lady Capulet, who is Juliet's mom. Which I think is interesting that in this film, Juliet's mom is like 10 years older than Juliet. But, Hollywood. But Rebel, I'm sure, will be sharing her take on the character and all the fun that she had bringing, this kind of new dimension into this classic story. So let's just jump right into it. Timothy Scott Bogart is a writer, director, producer. He created Spinning Gold, which is like an incredible movie from, I want to say, 2023. That is the story of his father, Neil Bogart, launching Casablanca Records in the 70s, which brought us, Gladys Knight, Donna Summers, The Village People, Kiss, Isley Brothers, and I love that movie so much. So he's behind that. We are talking to him today about Juliet and Romeo. His take on it is fresh and bold and blends like modern elements with timeless themes and modern super catchy music. It's really like just a cool take on it. So we are going to speak right now with Timothy Scott Bogart as we delve into the making of Juliet and Romeo. Here we go. Timothy Scott Bogart.
Thank you so much, Timothy, for speaking with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Kyle.
Of course. So first of all, congratulations on the film. Well, first of all, I love Spinning Gold.
Thank you.
Of course. But I love the film. Why did you just, there's a million versions of this out there. Why did you decide, it seems like it would be almost anxiety inducing, at least for me, to be like, I'm going to take on this, project that has been told a million times and I'm going to do it in my way. What brought you there?
Interestingly, I started out in my early career as a stage director and directed it, Romeo and Juliet, the play, the actual Shakespearean text, multiple times, and always felt I failed. Like I always felt, and the audience seemed to like it, but I feel there was more story there. So to me, I always saw there was other things to do around the edges, and it just plagued me. Truly, for about 10 years, I kept coming back, kept looking at it. And it was actually about 10 years ago with my brother, Evan Bogart, who wrote all the music. He wrote Halo for Beyonce, SOS for Rihanna, Lizzo, amazing pop songwriter. I remember asking him, why did he think Shakespeare's Diamond Pentameter? He said that was the poetry of his time. I said, well, that's interesting. What's the poetry of our time? He said, pop music. He said, watch the young generation The music isn't something they listen to, it's something they are. It breathes through them. I said, well, that is the most close description of anything that I could ever hear about what Shakespeare was trying to do in his time. So that kind of idea started leaping me off of inner voice, but accessible language that we could absolutely understand and get into with this incredible music that lifts us up. So it was something that plagued me, challenged me, haunted me. And then I finally kind of found that way in and said, my gosh, ultimately Shakespeare is about adaptation. Every single version you've ever seen, I'm doing it in World War II, I'm doing it here. His themes were meant to be re-explored. And my job ultimately was to figure out how to make them for this moment, in this time, for this audience.
I love that. And how did you, with your brother, how did you figure out, song wise? Because again, you're dealing with material that, is revered. This is why I don't use big words.
No, for sure. Evan and I always had a specific strategy about the kind of quality of genre of the music. And even there, we moved them. This was a little more Coldplay. This was a little more like this. So we had a certain kind of approach to that, but ultimately what was so unique is these songs, and I do believe it's quite different than many other musicals. These songs really are so part of the tapestry of the piece. It'd be like a proper 4-minute radio cut, right? But it plays over 18 minutes in the movie. So a verse comes in, it goes into score. Something else comes in, it goes in. So it really was like a writer's room, working hand in hand every second. Even to the point where we were in Italy, I'd suddenly be shooting something and we were doing a live capture and go, oh my gosh, the horse is taking 4 more seconds to get from here to there. You guys have 20 minutes. You have to re-architect the song right now. Go to the mobile recording studio that was kind of slanted on a mountain and get it back to us. So it really was hand in hand, understanding the needs and understanding the desires that we wanted. But it was a remarkably cool experience musically.
I love that. And I love, the end product is incredible. And I can't wait for everybody to see Juliet and Romeo. Thank you so much, Timothy.
Thank you, Kyle. Great
Have a great day.
You too.
Timothy Scott Bogart, such an awesome creator, and I love his vision love his vision on Romeo, Juliet and Romeo. In Juliet, whatever it is. I love his vision with the new pop musical film, Juliet and Romeo. All right, next up, talented actors Jamie Ward and Clara Rugaard, who bring the iconic characters of Romeo and Juliet to life. They both give really powerful performances. And like I said, the fresh kind of take on the story is really awesome. And especially with like the kind of modern pop music, I just think people are going to love it. So let's talk to Romeo and Juliet themselves, Jamie Ward and Clara Rugaard.
Thank you both so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
No worries, Carl. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You as well. So tell me, first of all, congrats on the film. What is it like to play? I mean, these are iconic characters that everybody in the world knows and has for, ever. What's it like to play characters like that?
What's it like? It's a good question. It's definitely different from reading it. Reading it is one thing, but to get to experience each pivotal moment that they went through sort of over the course of 3 or 4 months, I was in this sort of state of melancholy throughout the entire process, I think. And I had this like 90s kind of playlist going on. So I was definitely in a different state, I felt. Not that I was going, method or anything, but it definitely felt that was where that's how Romeo was feeling and where he was in that time, and just what he was going through with his family, and how his name, it sort of was trapping him, and this idea of love and not being able to love the person you want. Those are really relatable feelings that we all have, and yeah.
And how about, I'm sorry. And how about for you?
Well, the beautiful thing about this adaptation is that it's written in very accessible language, and also with the pop music that's sort of intertwined and runs through the whole story, it feels very relatable for a modern audience, and it really helped me get underneath the skin of Juliet and in this version, and understand her sort of complexity and nuances and her moxie. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
And did you both, like, are you able to kind of separate what this kind of history that these characters have and be like, okay, no pressure, this is my take on these characters? Or do you feel some kind of responsibility in some way?
I mean, you go.
Yeah, I mean, I felt responsibility for sure, but I think the fear went away when we knew what world we were going to be playing. It's so different. It is an adaptation, and it's a pop musical. So I never really felt the pressure I don't know whether you feel the same, Clara, but I never really felt the pressure to be like Leo, or to be like to do a national theatre production or something. It felt different and special.
Yeah, I think I would completely agree. And I also think once you go down that rabbit hole of, all the amazing performances that have been of Romeo and Juliet, you can quite easily start spiraling, I think. So coping mechanism for me as well was just to lean into this very different and modern and bold reimagining of the characters.
I love that. And you guys have both now put your mark on these iconic characters with this awesome film. Thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait for everybody to see Juliet and Romeo.
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks. Have a good day, guys.
Jamie Ward and Clara Rugaard, Romeo and Juliet themselves. What I think is interesting, by the way, is that Jamie Ward, in his last feature, played Jesus. So now he's gone from playing Jesus to Romeo. He's kind of racking up those iconic characters. I mean, not that Jesus is a character, but you know what I'm saying. Iconic roles for his career already. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back in 60 seconds, we're going to talk with the one and only, the amazingly talented, hysterically funny, and lovely person, Rebel Wilson. We'll be right back. Thank you for supporting our sponsors who allow me and us to bring Pop Culture Weekly to you each and every week. So thank you for that, and thank you to our sponsors. Now, it's all about Juliet and Romeo, the brand new film, the pop musical movie, kind of retelling of the classic story of Romeo and Juliet. And I love it. I really love how it takes a timeless story and, makes it modern and kind of combines those two things. It's really, smart, I think. All right. So, Rebel Wilson, come on. She is a queen of comedy, known for her unforgettable roles in movies like the Pitch Perfect films and Bridesmaids. She brings a unique blend of humor and heart to every project she touches, and in Juliet and Romeo, she takes on the role of Lady Capulet, Juliet's mom. So she brings a fresh twist to this classic character, and Lady Capulet is really a standout, I think, in Juliet and Romeo. So here she is, the one and only Rebel Wilson.
Hi, Rebel. Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Hi, Kyle. So good to chat.
Yes. So first of all, congratulations on the film. It is, I love how it's like a fresh take on this. What drew you to Juliet and Romeo?
I think the pop music, it's so cool. These are such great, standalone pop songs. And I love when I saw movies like Greatest Showman and they had all these killer songs. I think this movie has got that. It's just got these anthemic type songs that are really cool. And so I heard the songs, the demos, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. I wasn't thinking Romeo and Juliet adaptation would be on my radar. But when I heard the music, I was like, damn, I think this is going to be really good.
And for you, as you play Lady Capulet, on a character that's been around forever, how do you like kind of find your own way to put your own spin on it?
It is, yeah. It's normally quite a villainous character, Lady Capulet, and a lot of really famous actresses throughout the centuries have played her. And I guess I try to play the dilemma of you want your daughter to marry somebody who they're, not in love with, but playing it in that I was that girl 20 years before, and I had to marry somebody. In the movie, it's Rupert Everett, and I had to marry him when I was her age. And how I related to that is, like, in my family, a lot of things that my grandma had, struggled through, also my mum struggled through, and then also I struggled through, and so it kind of that relatability of that element.
That's interesting. And so you're able to pull those pieces through your life and kind of channel that into your version of her.
Yeah. So I just, hopefully it's a slightly less villainous, because often she's just played as outright evil. And hopefully this portrayal is slightly, she doesn't do the right thing by her daughter, but she definitely struggles with it.
You've done so many great characters. Do you take each one as like, you're waking up and today you're doing this character, or in other words, I feel like it would be hard when you do such a range of characters to like be very specific for this character for this project. Like, are you able to separate each project completely?
I mean, I'm lucky when I get to do like some of the big Hollywood comedy films. A lot of it is a lot of me. So like playing Fat Amy in the Pitch Perfect movies, like a lot of it is I'm not really doing any prep. I'm just coming to work and hanging out with my friends and just having a laugh. Whereas Juliet and Romeo is different. It was more back to my early days of playing characters, and I have an accent for the film, like a British RP accent, and it's set in 13th century Verona. So it's not like I've just woken out of bed and, I'm then dressed in these corsets and these kind of queenly outfits and in these medieval castles. So I did, for the 2 weeks that I shot for this film, really kind of live that Lady Capulet life. It was freezing. It was like 0 degrees. Oh, you can see in the movie there's a lot of kind of smoke coming out of our faces because it was so freezing. And so being in that environment, I just, I wasn't going home and watching Real Housewives or something at night. I was more living in that 13th century Verona just for the 2 weeks of the filming of the movie.
Yeah.
And so I think it gives the performance just a special flavor of its own.
Well, it works, and I thank you so much. I can't wait for everybody to see it. You're so great in it and everything you do. Thank you, Rebel.
Thank you.
Rebel Wilson. Love her. She's hysterically funny. She's so sweet, and she's so talented, and I love that she is on the show. Juliet and Romeo is out now. Go see it. Let me know what you think. I really think, if you like films like The Greatest Showman, which I absolutely loved, those kinds of musicals, or you're a rom-com fan, or you're a fan of, classic Shakespearean stuff, you're gonna really love Juliet and Romeo. So make sure you see it. Let me know what you think. Hit me up on socials and we will talk all about it. And I will see you next episode. All right? I love you. We out.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Weekly. Hear all the latest at popcultureweekly.com.
Juliet and Romeo, you never know where the love will go. Wait.